Hello, Sim here. So as the title says, I'm going to be talking about MTU because I've had enough of the false information going around on the YouTube about that one and getting lots of questions on it. I'm also going to cover some ping assist, a little bit of info on ping assist, and I'm also going to talk about reactive versus preemptive, especially in light of Infinite Warfare. And yes, although I don't have precise values for you guys because I haven't done that sort of testing, I'm going to give you some of the best guesses that I think will apply at this point in time for Infinite Warfare and EA games, i.e. think Titanfall 2 and Battlefield 1. So in the background you should be seeing some gameplay from our favourite lag frame rate dropping map, Mayday. Yes, it's called Mayday for a reason. Help! It's frame rate dropping, help! Just dial back all the special effects and just make it a consistent high frame rate, please, Mr. Infinity Ward. Right, yes, and it's a nice 4.67 KD. Okay, let's get on to MTU. Now, there's been quite a few YouTube videos out there by, I don't want to seem ageist here, by younger YouTubers who are saying, hey, guess what? The ultimate fix is just change your MTU setting to this on your console, and hey presto, all your lag will disappear. Now, if this was the case, wouldn't Activision be saying this on their website and wouldn't their Twitter account and all this sort of jazz say, hey, just set it to 1221 and that'll make it all great? Don't go and set it to 1221. I made that number up. It really is been getting on my nerves. Now, quite a few of you asked me as soon as this flurry of videos came out, because obviously anybody who's got a TP-Link, a NetDoomer, or custom firmware that they've blown onto their own router that gives them bandwidth control, they don't need to be mucking about MTU. MTU is just a cheapy way of slightly slowing down your internet connection, and I mean slightly, minutely, right? Nothing massive. So what the heck is MTU? MTU stands for Maximum Transmission Unit, and you're going, Sim, that doesn't mean anything to us. What does it mean? So if I keep with like a post office analogy for a second, when you're writing a letter to a friend and you want to send it, you want to post it off, you're writing it on in old-fashioned days. Yes, you know, you write it on the pen and paper and you fold up that sheet of paper, let's say an A4 piece of paper, and you put it in the envelope. Now you know that you can get, for this particular envelope, you can get a maximum of 3 in. And that'll fit in and you can post it with no problem being able to post it in being delivered. Right, so the maximum transmission unit for that is 3. Right? But if I set it to 1, that means I've got to post it in 3 bits. And so it's going to take longer to get there. Right? This is, best analogy I can come up with. So, you change that to the electronic age and you think about emails and sending emails and stuff. But and it's the same thing. What's going on underneath the covers is that they bundle the maximum amount of data that they can into a network packet. So that's your envelope. Okay. So keeping on with this for a second, your MTU settings in a nutshell should not be mucked about with. Don't change it. Your MTU setting that you require to connect to your ISP wherever you live in the world is unique to your ISP. So for example, I'm BT Infinity and the protocol that's used is called PPPoE, and that has a maximum transmission unit size of 1492. So that's what's set on the modem, but what's set on the consoles is automatic by Sony and Microsoft. They know best. Now if you start mucking about with your maximum transmission units, let's say certainly on your router, you set it too high, you're going to know because you won't be able to connect to the internet full stop. Similarly, if you set it too low, the performance is not going to be as good. So yeah, just basically ignore all of these young YouTubers who are saying change your MTU, it's the ultimate fix. I don't believe in it whatsoever. I had a play with it just out of curiosity, no difference. It's just a placebo effect. It really is. It's just they're trying to cash in on lag conf type fix videos and don't know what they're talking about. So I'm waiting for a load of scolding comments down below now, going, Sim, you don't know what you're talking about. Okay, so that's MTU. Okay, so let's move on to ping assist. So ping assist, as you guys probably know, is this value that you can tweak on milliseconds. There's a millisecond slider that you tweak to allow you to connect to other players or servers that are outside your geo filter but have a low ping. Now, what value should you set it to? Now, I happen to set it to 26 milliseconds purely because if I click on these little yellow servers, which are dedicated servers, France and some other European countries, you'll see that on average I'm getting a 24 millisecond ping. Servers that are closer to me are around the 7, 9, 10 milliseconds, right? But sometimes what happens is when new servers are stood up, they appear at that point in time, first couple of weeks or so, to be in another country like the USA, right? Either Seattle or the other side. So you get to see servers there and they get blocked by default. So for me, I set it to 26. Now what I recommend for you guys, because you've got a different ISP to me, you live in a different part of the world, everything's unique to you. So what I recommend you do is when you fire up like Infinite Warfare or whatever Call of Duty you're playing, or game even, you can do the same thing. You'll see the dedicated circles come up because normally you click on one and you have the good old temporary ban button available to you guys. See what the average ping you're getting is. So worst case scenario, some of those European servers is around 24 milliseconds. So I add a couple of more milliseconds, so that 26 milliseconds, so I can make sure that any new dedicated servers that arrive, I'm covered. I will connect to them even if it's outside my geo filter. So I don't have to worry so much about the cloud. That ping is going to be based on what I'm going to term as your base ping for your ISP. And your ping is going to be different compared to mine. 26 milliseconds is fine for me, but you may find that when you click on a dedicated server that is 40 milliseconds or something like that. So you want to set it to 42 or 44 milliseconds, for example, to know that you're going to pick up any new dedicated servers that appear in the wrong part of the world for this point in time. Right, so moving on to reactive versus preemptive. Any of you guys who watched my original modem speed test know that I got higher download speeds on reactive. I literally got 75 megabyte download speed on reactive and just purely 52 megs download on preemptive. So I lost 23 megs of my download speed when I had the sliders at 100%. Now, when you got them at 100%, I'd have for a reactive, I'd have 76 milliseconds ping, or jitter, worst case scenario, and 132 for upload. Where as soon as I switch to preemptive, the download goes from 76 milliseconds down to 28, and similarly, the upload goes from 132 milliseconds down to 64 milliseconds. A massive improvement just looking at 100%. So yep, Sims had tunnel vision and hadn't considered using preemptive because I'd only wanted the buffer bloat. We were always looking at higher speeds and therefore I was focused on reactive. So you're going to see stuff whizzing by on the charts and I'll try and summarize in a moment. The charts is a video, man. I'm not doing a presentation. So yeah, we all know that Infinite Warfare likes low speed. But what we do want to have though is a low ping. So when I did my original buffer bloat video, it was all to do with high speeds as possible with the lowest millisecond. It seemed right certainly for dedicated servers. And you think like Battlefield and things like that. It seemed about right for that, and it seemed okay for COD when you got proper dedicated servers there. As I mentioned, 100% for preemptive, I had like a 28 milliseconds down and 64 milliseconds up, and then when we went to 99%, it was 65 milliseconds down and 57 milliseconds up, and it's like, well, down just fluctuated big time. As soon as we go to 90%, it was 25 milliseconds, but when it really kicks in and starts doing stuff is 80%. It's the 80% to 20% that was quite nice. It's really 30%. It's the 80 to 30% that's quite nice. So at 80%, I got a 15 millisecond ping for download and 11 millisecond for upload. So I have a 15 meg upload and a 37 meg download. and I would suggest that's certainly a possibility for EA games. And then when we got to like 40%, that seemed to be a very sweet number for the lowest ping. So again, this is another EA possibility for Battlefield 1 and Titanfall 2, because I'd have a 12 millisecond up and down with a 7.5 meg-ish up and a 21.5 meg down. But for Infinite Warfare, I think we're going to be looking at the 30% one. So go up by 1 millisecond, so I'm going to 13 milliseconds up and down, but I've lowered my upload by like 2.5 megs roughly. And I still have high download speed, so I don't have to go and muck around with this whole device prioritization to like tweak it. See, I've still got like 16 megs, and so with download, that's plenty for people to stream videos. Plenty. Obviously, if I go all the way down to 5%, yeah, that's just terrible, man, because the upload just goes to 922 milliseconds. So you can see as we go from 80 down to 30 that those numbers just go down, and it's just great. It's great, it really does. You get this little fluctuations between 80% seems a nice sweet spot, because you got like a 15 millisecond and 11 millisecond. The 70, 60 and 50% are all varying around from 18 milliseconds to 24 when you're looking between upload and download. But as soon as you go from 50% down to 40%, suddenly you're back down to 12 milliseconds, and it's pretty nice. And 30% is 13 milliseconds. As soon as you go to 20%, it goes up again. You're looking like 17, 16 milliseconds, and of course you go down to 5%, and yeah, it's not usable, man. It's 922 milliseconds, like that's a second lag. And that's not going to do you any favors. You want the lowest upload millisecond possible, because you want to have a very good connection, because you want the lowest milliseconds for up, because that's your bullets hitting the enemy, being shot at the enemy. You want those bullets to get as fast to the server as possible to register I shot that enemy player. That's what you want. So although I haven't tested, the gameplay you're watching in the background, when I say I haven't tested, I have, but I haven't narrowed it down to say what I recommend as numbers and stuff. It's these videos are guides. These are to help you get there. So the background video gameplay you're watching is preemptive at 50%, and that's around the 20 millisecond mark. If you average it between the download and the upload, it's around 20 milliseconds. So if you can get it down to the 12 milliseconds, it's going to even be better, right? So from my testing, 30% looks good. 5 meg upload, yeah, they have improved their netcode. It's better. It's definitely not perfect, but it's definitely better than it was at launch. But I'm thinking for EA games, think Battlefield 1, Titanfall 2, it's either going to be the 40% setting for me, because I get a nice 12 millisecond ping, or 80% because I get a nice 11 millisecond ping. But again, it depends how much the upload speed is going to be affecting the lag compensation that will be in those games. But Titanfall 2 has got pretty good damn netcode. So have a go with the 80%, 40% and maybe 30% if you're still having problems. But do your own little quick test. Now when I've done these little charts, these were just like run one after another very quickly, just to get a very rough flavor. And then what I'd recommend is running it at least 3 times, maybe 5 when you've settled it down and gone, ooh, you know, that looks okay. And I've slid the sliders equally down as well. So I hope that's helped you guys, I really do. I hope we've cleared up the confusion on MTU. The setting is very specific to your ISP. Get it wrong, you won't have a working internet, so don't muck about with it. So do your own little tests, because in your part of the world, Reactive may be the best setting for you. For me, for online gaming and getting A+ across the board, quality, speed, buffer flow, A+ all the time, Preemptive is the best. Reactive was a real pain in the to try and hone in some values that would give me A+ across the board every time. Preemptive, absolutely not a problem. Not a problem at all. So, experiment, have fun. As always, I appreciate a thumbs up. It really does help my channel grow. And until next time, this has been Sim.